Big FA Cup preview coming from me as we head into the fourth round of the FA Cup this weekend. It happens Sunday. It's a 1:30 kick-off between Grimsby Town and Wolverhampton Wanderers. And old rivalries and old links for Wolves and Grimsby, which I'll be going through during this preview, and of course the stats leading up to this game. Now, the Mariners in the last 2 years have had, last 3 years, have had two really, really good cup runs. I think we're starting to become a little bit of a cup team, as well as doing well in the league. But if you look at it, not last season, but the season before, we made the quarterfinals of the FA Cup with that amazing and that dream run in 23, 24. It was like, Grimsby making the quarterfinals. It's like, wow. With great wins over the likes of Southampton and Luton and Plymouth and and obviously Burton, who, as I record this, have just been knocked out by Premier League West Ham, but only just. And you look at that. So obviously, what people will remember is obviously the two penalties by Gab Holohan against Southampton, and obviously the run came to a crashing halt, 5-0 at Brighton. But it kind of shows you what the club is capable of, and obviously everyone remembers during the Southampton, the fourth round tie, when Ali McCoy said about he wanted to jump into the away end because they were so absolutely we were going crazy, and to again now be making it through to round 4 again. Obviously, the third Premier League side that we've had at Blundell Park this season. Can't remember the last time we've ever done that. Definitely not in my lifetime. But I think, or top flight, I'll say, because obviously, as we were saying, there was football after 1992, which there was. But I think, you look at this game and it's, the links between Wolves and Grimsby, obviously, player-wise, is the likes of Jackson Smith. He started at Wolves. One of Rob Edwards was youth team manager at the time when Jackson was coming through at Wolves. Also, we've obviously had the floodlights, which obviously had to get altered. But found out it was around about £9,000 at the time, which equates to £200,000 today. You're thinking, well, that's actually the equivalent, and obviously another link between the two sides. By the way, if you want to find out more, a few more stats, do go and check out Grimsby Town's YouTube channel and the socials. Scott Woodthorpe does a nice little breakdown of a few of the links between the Mariners and the Wolves, obviously. So that's a good little about 2-minute video or so, 2.5-minute video. Very well done by Scott and the media team there. And obviously we've had I would say a little bit of a rivalry over the years with Wolves. Obviously, Steve Crowdson, who again, if you want to go and hear from Steve, that is on the YouTube channel as well. Over the last couple of days, that's been uploaded. because obviously Steve Crowdson made his Grimsby Town debut. I think that was in the League Cup though, but he made his Grimsby Town debut against Wolves. So there's been quite a few links between two sides. Not so much players between Wolves and Grimsby, but steep back in our history, we've got quite a link to Wolves in a lot of ways, and I think this is a game that we know they won't overlook, especially Rob Edwards, with the history in recent history that he's had with the Mariners, because we mentioned the win over Luton. That was Rob Edwards' Luton, who we beat obviously in a replay 3-0 here. So we've got recent history with Rob Edwards. We've got obviously history in the FA Cup, which we're hoping we can add another level and another chapter to not only this season but to the club's recent history, which is really successful. And I think the way we look at games like this is all the pressure is on Wolves, and it is obviously being bottom of the Premier League, which we'll go into in a minute. Being bottom of the Premier League, they're going to probably look at this as light relief in the aspect of because of the torridness of their league season, and I always class a cup run like this as a nice added bonus for Grimsby. I know I've thought, people would say, well, if we go out, it doesn't matter. It's a winnable game, really. I mean, watching the game earlier between Burton and West Ham, Burton just they just couldn't finish. West Ham struggled, and what we have to do is try and get at Wolves, try and put pressure on Wolves, because Wolves aren't going to want to come here. I'm sure though that Rob Edwards will talk about his time with Luton when he came here and in the end saw his team get well beaten. But obviously that was under a different manager. So and we know that David Arteta's not going to want to be defensive. He's going to want to be on the front foot as much as he can be, and the quality that Wolves have got, whether they're struggling or not, they're a Premier League team, and we have to respect that before we go on the pitch, but not when we're on the pitch. There's no reason why we cannot compete with Wolves. It's obviously going to be on TV. I will give you that information towards the end of this preview as to where you'll be able to watch, especially in the UK. If you can't make it to Woodlawn Park, it's sold out, which is fantastic. It's going to be a real bouncing atmosphere at the start, and I think we've got players that could trouble Wolves. I don't think it's going to be a foregone conclusion for them, and we'll see with my score prediction of what you think I think might happen, or I'll tell you what I think might happen. But if we look overall where it comes to team news, it's not, there's no real change in things. Obviously, a couple of players sort of went down with tight hamstrings in midweek. They're fine. The players are fine. No real new injury worries. I think we're all looking good. I wonder if Terrell Fleming will start. I don't think so. I think that'll be Chaz Burnham. I think Chaz will come on for this. And the team, I think, is going to start Andy Cook only to sort of put the pressure on the back line. We like to be front foot, which, and again, I think it's going to be I'm not saying obvious midfield. I think you're going to have Chaz on the right. You're going to have Dara. You're going to have Dara. You're going to have Eb. You're going to have Kieran. I think that's going to be our midfield four. Obviously, I think Jackson Smith is obviously going to play against his former side. I don't think there'll be many surprises going into this. I think Andy will start up top against Wolves. I really do, just to give us that physical presence, which they're going to want to have to deal with. Obviously, Andy Cook scored earlier in the season for Bradford against Newcastle. So you're just sort of looking and thinking, in the past when he played for Bradford against Newcastle and scored, obviously a Geordie himself, I think the team, pretty much picks itself. He might go with Terrell Warren at the back, I don't know. He might bring Jaden Sweeney back in. It's what I like at the minute about Town is we've got options, and I think whoever Dave decides to put in, you feel like they're going to put a shift in, and that Wolves are going to have to play well to beat us. Yes, we're going to have to play well to beat Wolves. That's obvious, but I've got more faith in the squad, and I think it's going to be probably an obvious lineup. Everyone's going to want to play in this. I think there's one player that is not going to want to play a part in this, and it's about with us trying to get on the front foot, trying to make it difficult for Wolves, while also being aware of the threats that Wolves are going to pose. But nothing. I say nothing to fear. And we are in a situation that's why the TV cameras are there. Wolves are bottom of the Premier League. They're coming to a team doing well in League Two. There's the story. So that at the end of the day proves that it's going to be. The story is us beating Wolves. You can tell that's why the TV is there. So I think we look at it and we've got to think, well, let's see what happens. And I'm looking forward to this one. It's going to be good. If we look at the overall stats now for the game, so far in the FA Cup, Grimsby Town have scored 10 goals this season. Wolves have scored 6. Obviously, they have played obviously a couple of rounds less, but they did win well when they won in the FA Cup last time. Goals conceded. The Mariners have conceded 3. Wolves have conceded 1. 32 shots, 19 for Wolves, 32 for the Mariners. 16 shots on target, so half the shots have been on target, half the shots have been off target. 10 shots on target, 9 off. We've had 11 block shots and 4 for Wolves. Passing accuracy, about 84% for the Mariners, and you'd expect about 90, just under 91.5 for Wolves. You expect that, the Premier League team, you're going to expect probably to have a higher pass accuracy. if you look at the form guide, obviously they have Strand Larsen, their main top goal scorer, which, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there, how they're going to deal with that, and how they're going to deal with obviously the physical presence that we've got, and obviously the good wingers that we've got at the club as well for this level. If you look at recent form, for the Mariners, obviously we're unbeaten in 10 games, unbeaten in 9 in the league really, but the last 5 results have been a 1-0 win at home to Accrington, obviously midweek, a great goal by Sellers Fleming, a 0-0 draw at Newport County, a 2-2 draw at home to MK Dons, a credible draw with being 2-0 down at the time. We also went to Colchester and won by a goal to 0, and won at Cheltenham by 2 goals to 0. So the Mariners 3 wins in their last 5 games in general, and 8 clean sheets in the last 10. It is for Jackson Smith, so they're going in with some confidence. If you look at Wolves though, last time out, a 0-0 draw with Nottingham Forest, which ended the term of Sean Dyche at Forest with that 0-0 draw. Before that, they lost 3-1 at home to Chelsea, 2-0 loss at home to Bournemouth, a 2-0 defeat at Manchester City. I'm sorry to say that they're champions of the Premier League, they're not, but Manchester City 2-0, but a 0-0 draw at home to Newcastle as well. Obviously, I think Rob's made them a lot more difficult to beat now, but you do see them. They're going to go down. That is inevitable. They are at the minute still a Premier League side. You have to respect them for that, but they will be a Championship side come the end of the season. That is an absolute given. But they'll still have threats that we have to be aware of, and but at home, we're close to 9,000 fans are going to be absolutely bouncing at the start. And if we can get a good start, then we could put more woes on Wolves. But we'll see. If we look at previous meetings between the two sides, obviously it's been a while. I'll go into that. Played 36 times. The last 36 times, Wolves have won 19. Grimsby have won 9, 8 draws in that time, but we haven't played Wolves since the 2002-2003 season. In the first stat or match fact that BBC Sport have given me, that I'm reading from, this is the first meeting between Grimsby Town and Wolves since the 2002-2003 season, when Wolves won both league games in the second tier. They have won 5 of their last 7 against the Mariners, drawing 1 and losing 1 of them. Our last win over Wolves was in March of 2002, when we got a 1-0 win at Molineux, March 16th, 2002. Before that, in October of 2002, these were the 2 wins that they were talking about. It was 4-1 at Molineux in the 2002-03 season, and it was a 1-0 win for Wolves at Blundell Park in April of 2003. If we look at a few more stats for the game as well, which has been provided by BBC Sport, this is where I'm reading from. Wolves have progressed from 3 of their 4 FA Cup ties against Grimsby, failing only in a 1-0 defeat in the first round in 88-89. They have scored 5 or more goals in 3 of their 5 games, including replays against the Mariners in the competition. Grimsby are looking to reach the FA Cup 5th round for the second time in 4 seasons, having gone to the quarterfinals in 2022-23, Before this, they hadn't reached that stage since 95-96, when they drew 0-0 at home to Chelsea for losing the replay. The home game was the last time they hosted a Premier League side before this tie. Wolves have progressed from 5 of their last 6 FA Cup four-time ties, including in each of their last 2 seasons. They last reached the 5th round in 3 consecutive campaigns between 1979 and 1981. Grimsby Town's last 2 FA Cup games have been against teams beginning with W, which is an interesting stat really. I didn't realise that. Wealdstone in the 2nd round and Weston-super-Mare in the 3rd. This century there's been 2 occasions a team have faced 3 W teams in a season, and both times they've knocked out all 3. Fulham in 2001-2 was Wycombe, Walsall and West Brom, and Southampton in 17-18 when they beat Watford, West Brom and Wigan. I did not realise that. I did not realise that this is the 3rd W in an FA Cup campaign. So, that is quite a good start. Many teams do well against teams that have a W in the name. But Wolves overall, obviously we've got that biggest attendance at Old Trafford, which came against Wolves as well, which we have a banner out in the ground for, 76,000. We lost 5-0 that day, but it's going to be a very interesting game, this, as to what the Mariners are going to be able to do. Can we cause an upset? At home, it's on TV. We've got nothing to lose in this. Absolutely nothing to lose. I'm going to go for... I did see Steve Sidwell give a prediction of 2-1 to the Mariners. And do you know what? I'm going to agree with Steve. I'm going to give us the win here, 2-1 against Wolves. I'm going to say Kieran Green and Andy Cook to get the 2 goals for Grimsby Town, because why not? We're the League 2 side. We've got nothing to lose really. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Leave me your thoughts and comments down below on your thoughts on the game. Can the Mariners cause an upset? Are you just going to enjoy the game and see what happens? Obviously, when the game starts, we're going to want to do well, aren't we? But I think we're on such a high as a club right now. I think it's a good feeling at the minute to be a Grimsby Town fan. If you cannot make it to Blundell Park because of the because of the sellout, it will be on TNT Sports 1. I think that the programme starts at 1 o'clock. So if you cannot make it to Blundell Park because of obviously the sellout, it will be on TNT Sports from 1 o'clock. And hopefully roar on the Mariners from home if you can't be at Blundell Park. But I will be at Blundell Park, as will a friend of mine will be at Blundell Park in good time, because I'm sure the parking there is not going to be the kindest. But it's going to be a buzzing day, really. That we've got a chance in this. We've got a real good chance. I'm saying 2-1. Leave me your thoughts and everything, predictions and comments all down below. Let me know what you think will happen. Will the Mariners make round 5? Like I said, I think we've got a chance. Leave me your thoughts down below. Like, share, comment and subscribe. And if I see any of you down at Bullen Park, do come and say hello. And let's see if we can keep this FA Cup ride going. And I'm looking forward to this one. If I see you guys there, say hello. In the meantime, guys, up the manners, and it's FA Cup time. Woohoo! Samsung 2-1. What do you guys think? See you soon. Ta-da.